Welcome to Discovering. April's a tough time here in the UP as we transition from winter to spring. It's too late and too early to go fishing. Even the geese aren't sure if they're coming or going. It's not cold but not warm enough to enjoy many of our go-to outdoor activities. And the same holds true for filming. There's just not much to shoot in April. But there's a whole lot right around the corner. And that includes brook trout fishing. So tonight we'll go back, way back to 2013, for a look at what is it about Brookies.
The secret streams that flow beneath the cliffs of colored stone. Forest thick and healthy with birch and pine and oak. Surrounded by the greatest lakes this world has ever known. The black bear's awesome presence as he roams the hills and fields. Call of the timber wolf, the loon's lonesome trill, the eagle soaring high above, the trout lies deep and still. These are what I treasure, the only way I measure feelings that I have for this fine land. There is so much to discover when you're a long-time lover of northern Michigan.
My dad loved to fish brookies. He always said there's only one kind of fish worth fishing, and that's the brook trout. Every year, he and his fishing buddies would head for some remote Canadian stream in search of giants. He brought me along when I was 15. But for me, it starts even before that. Like yesterday, I can remember him sneaking up to a deep hole on a small creek with a telescoping rod, an old bait caster reel, and a worm dangling off the end, with me creeping closely behind. Close enough to learn, but not too close to scare the fish away. So just what is it about brook trout? I got together with some friends. Hilltop RV set us up with a camper, and we set out on a 4-day UP adventure to help shed some light on the question. We set up at a campground in the northeast west central part of the Upper Peninsula. This would be our base of operation for the next 4 days. From here, we'd head out to each of the many trout streams in the area.
We are on the river. The river is literally a stone's throw away. Going to pick up some brook trout in the UP. It's what the UP is known for. I mean, the UP brook trout. And we are here. The camper is set up and we are excited.
That works. We'll get some of that action going.
That was a big one. Holy smokes. Did you see that? The little one, not the big one, but you won't believe what I resorted to. A fine little UP specimen. This is a technique better known as high sticking, where you'll take like a heavy nymph or a heavy woolly bugger. When you're in a deep hole, flip it out there, then you hold high the rod, keeping as much of the fly line off as you possibly can. You're maintaining tension between the nymph and the fly line itself. So you have to feel for the take. Another good way to detect the take is when you're using a floating line, you watch the tip of that fly line, wait for it to shoot out, and then set the hook. Let's see if I can't pick him up over here, because there was a big fish laying in there. Because he walks out and he thinks it's a regular door and he just kind of flips it with his wrist.
guys just snuggling up. You know you're in brook country when you get welts.
No.
I'm getting welts the size of golf balls.
You know, what is it about Brookies? You know, it's not a clear-cut answer. There's so many things that go into brook trout fishing. You know, it's sitting by a fire, sitting with people you care about, doing it with the fly rod, seeing that big fish roll. It's Michigan's fish, if you will. It's our state fish. You know, a lot of people will say that, I've heard it over the years, that brook trout are a foolish fish or a naive fish, and I don't believe that. I believe that the brook trout is just a very aggressive fish. He's tough. You look at this tiny fish, and pound for pound, that fish is bad. He's just tough. He knows what he wants. He goes after it. He's out there to feed. He's a predator. Being out in a place, I mean, look at what's around you. There's not a soul. There's not a house. There's not a tin can laying anywhere. Oh. I mean, just look at it. It's absolutely wild. It's beautiful. It's untouched. Right back in the bank. I knew he was going to pick up in there. I just knew it. Nice fish too. Nice brookie. Beautiful fish. Oh, oh, oh. Come on, baby. That's why I love this. Come on. Oh, there he is. There he is. There he is. Oh, look at that. Oh. Now, normally you have a pair of hemostats, but somewhere down the trail here I've lost mine. Oh my gosh, is that beautiful? Look at the map on his back. Just an utterly beautiful fish. Oh my goodness. That's what Michigan is about, right there. That's what the UP is about. The UP, people come, I saw a shirt on a guy back at the campground and it said UP Brookies. I mean, it's not talking about our brown trout, it's not talking about our steelhead fishery that's fabulous all over the state. The UP is known about brook trout. For a brook trout fisherman, it's like a kid on Christmas morning. There we go. Oh, nice. I knew if I played the game long enough. Oh, he's got some backbone to him. Gets a little deep. Look at that. Look at the mapping all over him and his white fins. All the little red dots. I mean, what a beautiful little fish. Just fantastic. Brook trout fishing carries so much. You see, you know, they stock rainbows, they stock browns, they stock them in these streams, and it's good. You know, you can go there and catch fish, but to get into some true brook trout fishing, you have to get back in the wild. Back where the pine trees whisper, back into the tag alders, back into the spots where you might drown because you step off of waist deep water, and the next thing you know, just your neck is sticking out. Everything comes with brook trout fishing. You're out there, you're out in the wild. Brook trout do not grow in ugly places. They don't. They grow out in the wild. Real brook trout are out in the places that nobody else wants to go. They're not, you can't catch them just by walking down the path. You can't do that. You have to get out. You have to beat through the alders. You have to beat through the pine trees. You have to beat through the swamp. You have to get lost once in a while. That's where you have to go to find trophy brook trout, and they're out there. So if I had to, if you had to say, what is it about brook trout that you love? It's the adventure, because you do, right?
Gotta be the adventure. Yeah, a lot of it is just the camaraderie of your buddies and hanging out with your family and the people you care about and you love, and
Amen.
and then part of it for me is literally an act of worship. I get to be in God's country. I get to enjoy His creation, what He made, and just fully just soak it all in. Sometimes you see a pileated woodpecker on a tree. Sometimes you're going to see an indigo bunting or an oriole or whatever, and every ounce and every minute of that is enjoyable, even if I don't catch fish, which I usually do catch fish, but that's a little guy. Come here. Sit still. Beauty, look at the worm markings, the red and blue dots, man. I mean, it's just such a pretty little guy. I did catch the biggest brook trout of my life today. It wasn't massive, but a good 15-inch brook is a good fish. And for me, I mean, nothing beats that feeling of being on the river, the breeze blowing, I mean, the sun shining, and you just feel like you're blessed. We're blessed to be here. I can do this for hours if I'm not getting eaten alive. And another little tip, when you're trying to unhook them, I often will hold them upside down just because they seem to chill out a little bit when you do that. There you go, beautiful little guy. That pearl iridescent glow. It's just a surreal experience being out here and enjoying the peace, the quiet, and you just get to watch nature and all its elements. I mean, there's really nothing better if you enjoy the outdoors. Brook trout fishing is where it's at. There's many other activities I've done. I enjoy a lot of different things outside, that involve paddling and pedaling and skiing and all those sorts of things. But I don't even have to catch fish to enjoy this. I can just be out here and simply put your waders on. I mean, heck, sometimes I'll even throw binoculars in my bag or something and just check out what's going on inside the river, like right now with these guys catching fish. It's just fun to even sit back and eat your lunch on the side of the river. Today we grilled some brats and we had fun with that. We took and brought the whole lunch and ate right on the side of the river, and I mean, who doesn't enjoy that? Yeah, we got another taker. Wanted some breakfast. Look how aggressive they are. You gotta love that. I mean, you got a spinner that big and a little tiny trout. Let's see if we can get another taker. But that's what's great about getting out, doing some brook trout fishing. You can produce something almost every time. Even if it's nothing huge, even if it's nothing, that's you're gonna mount on your wall, it's still a good day. Just had another hit. Woo.
So I'm just using a little 3-weight rod, which is ideal for these brookies, and a small little black caddis. I like the caddis because they'll float well. Even after you catch a few fish on them, they'll still stay on the water, and the fish love them. The first fish I caught was when I was probably 4 years old on a little Zebco fishing a beaver dam for brookies, and ever since it seems like chasing these fish in the same kind of environment where whether it's willows or tag alders or these bushy, snaggy streams or ponds, and just the way those fish just explode on a dry fly coming out of the water. But yeah, those little fish, pound for pound, just are awesome, and it's a funny fish. It's you know, you're either catching a million little ones or trying to seek that one big one, and that big one's 13, 14 inches would be ginormous. Or 15.
I mean,
maybe.
In my case.
I mean, it gets bigger
Right.
every hour pretty much.
Well, no.
It'll be 20 inches by the time this is over. There we go. There's a good one. And you know, I don't think a lot of being kind of new to the UP and this fishing, I don't think that most people know how prolific and awesome the brookie fishing is here. You know, when I was fishing for brookies, large brookie was 6-7 inches, and that was it. There was nothing double digits, and here you've got a good chance every time you go out to catch a really nice fish, and these rivers, that's all you're fishing for is brookies, and nowhere else is like that. That's pretty impressive.
That is cool.
In that little water. I mean, there we were in the big holes, and he's sitting in a foot of water up there. That is awesome. That is awesome. Look at that spot. Just beautiful. Oh, yeah. The big fish will come out of those deep holes and move back into a slot like this during the day to feed. Fishing's more than going after the fish. It's about being outdoors. It's about being out with friends and seeing new countries, seeing new areas, meeting people, and sharing an experience with people. That's really what it's all about.
Amen.
And this doesn't get any better. I mean, here we are, beautiful weather, caught some fish, campfire. A few brook trout still waiting out there to be caught, but man, it's just awesome.
Well, this was indeed a great trip. Great friends and great fishing. If you're like me and seem to never have the time anymore to get out and spend a day on a quiet, acid-stained UP stream fishing for one of our most notable fish, I hope this show somehow convinces you to find the time. Get some good maps, blow the dust off your creel, get out in the woods and find your own favorite brookie spot. A spot where the fish are plenty and the footprints are few. And the next time you sneak up on that deep hole with a worm dangling from the end of your rod, make sure your son or daughter is behind you. Make sure he or she doesn't miss out on the chance to experience the mysteries of fishing for brook trout. Oh, and what do I think it is about brookies? I do fish for other species of fish, and I enjoy it all. But there is something special about fishing brookies. It's not necessarily better, it's just different. It's kind of in a category of its own. It does, for some reason, seem to bring people closer together. It makes you take notice of the beauty around you, where you're fishing, and who you're fishing with. When I'm out in some quiet, remote spot in the UP, all alone with the river, it feels like there's some unspoken connection between me and the fish. It's me putting my wits to the test against his, and all the odds, the current, the snags, the brush, the mosquitoes. But we're not adversaries. We're just both part of the same picture. Constantly finding that next deep, dark hole where the big one has to be waiting. It's taking everything I know, everything I've learned from my dad, putting it all together and quietly sneaking up to the edge of the bank, dropping my worm in just the perfect spot, and floating it gently under a log. What happens after that doesn't really matter. Yeah, my dad loved to fish brookies. He always said, there's only one kind of fish worth fishing for, and that's the brook trout.